You know that feeling, right? You tell your browser to forget something, and it just doesn't.
So you did it. You clicked Clear History. You think you've got a clean slate. But then you go to type something into a search bar and there they are. The same old suggestions staring right back at you. Your first thought is probably, what gives? Is this thing broken? It's a totally reasonable reaction. But the truth is, the system is actually working exactly the way it was designed to. And the whole reason for that confusion comes down to one simple fact. The system's idea of memory is completely different from yours. To really get what's going on, we need to look at how a browser actually keeps track of information. It's not one big memory bank. It's more like a bunch of separate ones. I mean, when you look at the screen, it seems simple enough. You see one button, it's labeled History. You expect it to do one thing, get rid of your history. But what's happening behind that simple button is more like a filing cabinet. It's a whole system set up to organize different kinds of information for very different jobs. And that filing cabinet has multiple separate drawers. Forgetting what's inside one of those drawers doesn't do a thing to what's in the others. So you've got these different drawers for different jobs. One is for your web history, the actual list of pages you visited. Another is for the cache, which helps websites load faster. And then there's a really important one, a drawer for cookies, which holds onto your IDs and preferences. Okay, so here's the key. When you click Clear History, you are only telling the browser to empty one of those drawers, the one that keeps a log of the pages you've been to. The other drawers, like the one holding on to all your cookies, are left completely untouched. And this brings us to the main reason for those annoying, persistent suggestions, a little something called a cookie. Let's take a look at what that actually is. So an HTTP cookie is basically just a tiny text file that a website gives to your browser. The best way to think of it is simply as an ID tag. It's how a website tells your computer apart from all the other millions of computers out there. Actually, you know a great analogy for this? A cookie works almost exactly like a coat check ticket. Here's how that ticket system works. A website gives your browser a ticket, that's the cookie. Your browser just holds on to it. The next time you visit that site, your browser just shows it the ticket, and the site says, yep, I know you. And just like that, it remembers your login or what was in your shopping cart. So, clearing your history is like telling the coach check attendant to forget you were ever there. But you never actually threw the ticket away. Your browser is still holding it. So you might be wondering, why on earth would they design such a confusing system? Well, it all comes down to a trade-off, what works best versus what's easiest to understand. And really, this whole setup isn't meant to trick you or be intentionally confusing. It's just that the system is trying to achieve a very different set of goals than you are in that particular moment. It's a total mismatch of priorities. Your goal is simple: erase my trail. But the system has its own list of jobs to do, like remember logins, save cart items, and load pages faster. And these two goals are often in direct conflict. At the end of the day, the system is built to prioritize a convenient and seamless experience. Keeping those cookies, those little coat check tickets, is exactly what allows the modern web to feel so fluid and personalized. It's why you don't have to log back into everything every single time. Okay, so let's put all these pieces together and directly answer that initial frustrating question. So why do those suggestions keep popping up, even after you've cleared your history? It's because the instruction you gave the browser was very, very specific. You told it to forget the list of places you've visited, to empty out the history drawer. But you didn't tell it to throw away your ID tags. The website's ability to recognize you, thanks to that cookie, lives in a completely different drawer. And that drawer was left untouched. All that frustration really just comes from this mismatch in expectations. Our intuition looks for a single unified memory, like a person has. But software just doesn't work that way. It uses a collection of different specialized tools, and clearing one doesn't affect the others at all. So the system isn't broken. It's just that your browser's memory is stored in a lot more places than you probably thought.